Alright, what's going on, people? Ring Roadmap here, and today we're going to talk about Jack Catterall versus Jorge Linares, one of my favorite fighters, to be honest with you. But he's aging, he's getting older, and so we're not really sure how he's going to perform against Catterall. Plus, he's had multiple losses in a row. So again, that can play a factor into this. So we're just going to look at the technicalities of this, see what my opinion is on it. So the first thing that we'll see often with Jack Catterall is that outside pivot, and he always take that lead foot angle outside of his opponent's lead foot. So what he does here, let's see the first example. So right here, you guys will see him take that angle. He's going to start off with the jab. He's going to throw that check hook, that Soviet hook. He's going to take that lead foot outside of the lead foot of his opponent, and then he's going to pivot around him. All right, it's hard to really trap him on the ropes because he constantly has that lateral movement, he constantly has that pivot, and then there again you see him posing that lead hand, you see him stretching out that lead hand, and then you see him moving his head around the shoulders of his opponent and using his opponent's shoulder against them so that he can get away. And for an aging fighter like Linares, who cannot necessarily cut off the ring the same way that they did before, this might be a great tactic to use, right? Just move side to side, box him in circles, and eventually he's gonna run out of gas, and then you can step on the pedal. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're gonna look at is gonna be the Philly shell blend. So what you're gonna see with Catterall a lot of times is that he likes to stay planted. He actually doesn't step back. So as you can see here, he's gonna just plant right here. He's gonna stay planted. He's gonna wait for you to throw those punches. When he sees particularly that you like throwing wide shots, what does he do? He just blocks your shot, he stays planted, he stays frontal on that front leg, and then he waits for you to smother yourself. Why? Because he's going to lean over that shoulder once again, and then he's going to get out. So as you can see, he's going to lean on the rear shoulder of his opponent, and then he's going to step out. He's going to reset right there. Alright, and this tactic that he uses really disables his opponent from following up any longer. So as you can see, again, he leans underneath the armpit of his opponent, and that disables his opponent from following up, and he also gets to change the angle after he threw, right? So let's see another one here. So he's going to lean over that rear shoulder once again. He's going to stay blade. He's going to bend out the waist. But it doesn't just bend out the waist on the back foot. He also bends at the waist at the front foot, right? He leans forward, and then he smothers you. He leans over the rear shoulder of his opponent, and then that way he can get out. That way he can stay safe. He's not at a weak position. So as you can see here, even though he's bending out the waist, it's not on his back foot. It's actually on his front foot. And he can push off of, or he can push his opponent off from this position. He's not at a weak position where he doesn't have any support coming from his lead leg, right? And this is the most important thing when you're trying to bend out the waist, when you're trying to pull off this style. You have to not forget about the front foot. And Catterall is really good at staying frontal while bending out the waist. He's not leading all the way back, and he's not fighting scared. He's always prepared to counter, and he's always prepared to engage, right? So the next thing I'm going to look at now is going to be level changes, right? What he does here, or level changes on the end of his opponent. This is something that is actually one of the flaws of the defense of Catterall, because he likes to rely a lot on that shoulder roll, especially as a southpaw. If you do that, your opponent can take advantage of that simply by changing levels, right? They can throw a rear hook to your body and then throw a lead hook to the head. And because your shoulder, it cannot really roll all the way. If you're a southpaw, you cannot really do the shoulder roll all the way up, you know? Especially if you just block the rear hook of your opponent. So as you can see here, that same thing happened. His opponent initially threw a rear hook to the body. So rear hook to the body here, and then that opened up the left side of his cheek. And then, let's see, did he follow up there after the right hook? So right hook, oh no, that's actually a right hook to the head. He started it off with a jab to the body. So you see how that level change kind of made it awkward for Catterall to defend it. So again here, he's going to jab, he's going to fake some jabs to the body first, and then he's going to throw a right hand up top, okay? And again, because that Philly shell only protects both the cheeks, you cannot really protect the center from that shoulder roll, right? So he squares up. He thought it was going to be a rear hook once again, and guess what? It wasn't. This is the same thing that happened in Canelo versus Charlo. Charlo thought that it's going to be another rear hook to the side of his face, so he protected the side. What happened? That shot came right down the pipe, alright? That right hand came right down the pipe. And that's the same thing that happened to Catterall right there. So let's see another example here. So there, he was lucky because he was moving away. He was actually moving laterally. But if he stayed right at that center, if he didn't move away, he probably would get hit with that right hook again. Okay, and the reason why is because he doesn't really have a good high guard. Yes, he puts his hands up every once in a while, but he doesn't have a good high guard. And every time his opponent changes levels, his guard goes all over the place. So that's something that he can definitely work on in his camp to guarantee himself that he wins this fight against a much older Linares. But if Linares can learn how to change levels, well, he does know how to change levels already, so that's not a problem. If he does that, then I think he can hit Catterall with some good shots. Will the power be enough to knock him out though? I'm not sure, because Linares is not really a one-punch power kind of fighter. If he lands the perfect shot, and I mean perfect, yes, he can put you down, but it's not enough when he can just land it and it's not perfect. That's not enough. He needs to follow it up. He doesn't have the power like that. So the next thing we'll talk about is going to be the falling jab. So as you can see, whenever he throws his jab to the body, he's going to fall down. He's going to be overly leaning on that front leg, and that opens up that side of his face once again for that counter shot. And then there again, that counter shot of his opponent kind of grazes him right there. So again, this is a dangerous move to do against Linares, because Linares, although he's getting older, he has a pretty good stiff jab, and he has a pretty good check hook too, alright? Plus, if you move your head down like that, if you move your head that low, you're also susceptible to the right uppercut of your opponent. So one thing that Linares can do here is he can block that body jab with his lead elbow, and then counter with an uppercut right away from that neutral position, okay? And he does this habitually. As you can see there, he's going to shoot that jab. I don't know why he likes to dive down on his opponent. Yes, I get it that he's trying to smother himself. But what if your opponent is not a punching bag, right? They're going to step back from that shit, and the next thing you know, you're off balance, you're sucking dick, and then you're going to get caught with an uppercut as you try to go down, as you try to fall down like that. So again, a very dangerous move, and I think this is something that Linares can take advantage of. So next thing we're going to talk about, because he gets stuck so much in that bladed stance, his lead hook is not really a threat. His lead hook is just a setup for his rear hand punches. So one thing that we can see consistently from him is that lead or that rear uppercut counter. So he just blades himself, he allows you to come in, allows you to square up, and then he throws those rear uppercuts as you come in. Okay? And then again, he's gonna do that here, just allows you to commit a little bit harder, and then that allows you to lean forward, and then that puts you on the path for that rear uppercut. If you're Linares, the way to solve this problem is just don't come in with the same lead punch. Don't lead with the same punch every time. You throw a jab at him, he's going to figure it out eventually. So you want to mix it up. Lead right hands, lead left hook, lead left uppercuts, power jabs, right? Jabs from different positions. And that should help him kind of catch Catterall a little bit more often. So look guys, I actually adopted my style after Linares. I love Linares. I think his style, at his prime, at his best, his style was one of the cleanest styles out there, right? You won't see any dirty tactics from the dude. You won't see any off-balance kind of shots from him, right? Everything is perfectly placed. Every punch is perfectly placed. But, look, he lost 3 in a row, and I think it's just going to continue for this fight. He might have his moments. He might even knock down Catterall if he lands that perfect shot, but besides the knockout, I really don't see him winning via decision on this one. I think Catterall will keep that range going. And it's going to be like Linares versus Campbell all over again. So that's my prediction for this fight. If he doesn't hurt him early, if Linares doesn't hurt Catterall early and get his respect, then Catterall will just box him in circles and is going to win a clear decision. So that was it. I'll see you guys soon. And I'm still hoping that Linares could pull it off. But objectively speaking, I'm going with Jake Catterall on this one. Peace.